go, baby. Take marker action. What's going on, Alamo City Movie Talk fans? As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. aka Ryan 680.
I'm Angela, that Kelly Ange.
And this is Alamo City Movie Talk, guys. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. You know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe to us on our Alamo City Movie Talk page. And thank you for making us a part of your day. But let's get right to it. Angela, what are we talking about today?
Well, Ryan, this is one of our highly anticipated movies of the summer. I know we've been, completely expecting this to blow our socks off for months now, ever since we saw the trailer.
Yeah.
But we are reviewing Weapons. So when all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanish on the same night at exactly the same time, a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. Now, Ryan, start us off. What were your initial thoughts knowing what we were expecting, coming into this? Did this movie live up to your expectations?
Halloween came early for moviegoers, and I feel like and that's to say the least, because this movie is fantastic. I enjoyed it. I had a pleasant time watching this movie. One of the key things I did say in the out of theater reaction, if you haven't checked that out, by the way, one of the key things I did say, and I will uphold it, is that I expected a little bit more jump scares from the trailer's point of view because of the trailer direction that they really did. But that's not to say that I didn't enjoy this movie. Now, did the movie need more jump scares? No. I don't think so. 100% I don't. But I feel like it kind of misleads the audience to thinking there's a lot of jump scares. But that's the outside looking in. Now, more critique side of it is the fact that this movie's told very differently. It's told by different different narrative structures here. Yeah. Different point of views in the same situations that are occurring in this small town. First and foremost, I do want to we've known her since Ozark. We've known her in other films. I think the other movie, independent film, The Secretary, that came out a couple years ago. Julia Gardner. I've seen so many projects of her, and she's grown a lot when it comes to acting, and she keeps you very entertained in this movie and kind of intrigued and kind of following her pathway throughout this whole film, because it first leads off with her as well. Anyways, Angela, before I go into dissecting more of the narrative differences, what did you think of this movie?
I absolutely loved it. I liked like you say, the different storytelling for the different point of views. Yeah. And each point of view adds more to the overall.
More context to the same situation.
Yeah, more context, more, more meat to the story, if you will, the main story of basically how these kids went missing. Yeah. And it was such an interesting villain, if you say bad guy. It was, interesting because it doesn't really explain who. And you do find out who is responsible for this. We're not going to spoil it. Yep. But they don't explain who that person is really, or where they came from in sense, and what it is. But it's very interesting to speculate. And I really like movies that kind of give you food for thought after. Like, it makes you ponder and question. It's a little open-ended. I really love the story, actually. I think it's a very interesting concept to have all these kids. I love mysteries to begin with, but I think it's a really interesting concept. All these kids went missing, and there's kind of like a sinister meaning behind it. You don't know exactly why or what, but I really like the storytelling it is to solve the mystery of what happened to these kids. I agree with you. I think Julia Gardner is fantastic. You say we've seen her in Ozark and most recently Fantastic Four, and she is just amazing. I loved her. I know Josh Brolin was in here as well. Yeah. Also amazing. I mean, it was really cool to see some of these familiar faces. I really, hands down, love the cast. Even down to the little boy who was the sole kid who was left from the classroom. Yeah. He was good. Amazing. Alex. All around fantastic cast. And I cannot speak enough about the story and the cast. I think they were such great.
Carrie Christopher was the actor.
Yeah. Little boy, he had such great talent, for the story and his character arc. Oh my gosh, it was great to see them on screen. And again, I cannot praise this enough. It was definitely a different take. So it's not your traditional scary movie per se. Like you say, there's not enough jump scares in a sense, but I just love the story and how it unfolds. I think that's what makes, for me, in my sense, a great scary movie.
Of course. And it goes back to like the psychological part of it. It's not as psychological as you would think, but it's more story driven, and I love that. That's what I really wanted in a movie and everything. When it comes down to it, something I did not know was Austin Abrams is in here. He plays the the homeless guy.
Yeah,
the homeless kid. Yeah. Something I did not even know, he was actually in Euphoria. He was Ethan.
Yes.
I did not even know that.
Yeah.
I was all like, who's that kid from? So I just looked at it right now. I was like, oh, his credentials. Euphoria. That's right. He was.
Yeah, I recognized his face right away. But when we were watching it, I was like, I know that face, but you couldn't pinpoint it.
And this was directed by Zach Kreger. One of the cool things is that he's a very good director, and he's made The Barbarian. So if you liked The Barbarian, I'm 100% you're gonna like this one. So it's that same tone, that same kind of genre.
And it's funny because I did not like The Barbarian, and I really like this one.
See, I mean, hey, I think it's mainly more subject, right? What's the subject here? And the subject is there's missing kids. Where are they at? And I feel like that. Everyone can relate to that. It's very relatable because we've seen so many. I think it's because the fact that we see a lot of true crime and we see a lot of like documentaries like that are just like surreal, and we kind of we want to know the answers, right? We're curious. We're curious by nature, and I feel like that moviegoers are really going to connect with this story more than his last movie. I would say, in my point of view.
I think so. But again, I cannot say enough good things about it.
Yeah.
It is a little bit, like I said, a little on the edge of like pushing the boundary weirdness, but I really like the story.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. So another key point that I do want to say as well is, yes, there's not that many jump scares. Another thing was that they kind of don't explain, and I think you already mentioned it already, they really don't explain where it comes from or what's the whole,
like who this person
is. And they kind of do, they kind of don't, and I guess there's a reason behind it, because I feel like it would have gone way too longer for its own good, because it's already 2 hours and 8 minutes. If you go kind of like close to 2 hours and 30 and then to another full hour, I would be like, no, like it wouldn't work because it's just too much. And horror movies, they need to stay within that realm because of the fact that, you know, there's only so much you can do. I mean, this is original IP, right? So it's just, there's only so much you could do, and you know, there can't be bloodshed for the next, like, literally the whole hour. So it's like, so because it gets kind of dull and it gets kind of,
I, now that you mention it, I will say the gore scenes, there are gore scenes, not very many, but the few that are pretty good. And it's completely creepy, completely unnerving, and I think it's done very well. The makeup effects, spot on. I agree, a little bit longer to explain would have been unnecessary. But I liked that it was open-ended, because, you know, each audience member can kind of draw their own
open
conclusion.
Discussion like we're having right now. So it definitely leaves a verdict at its own right, and I feel like that was the point of the filmmakers. That was their point. The filmmakers, director's point was that, like, we're not going to really touch up on that because we're focusing on what the trauma behind the town. We're focusing the trauma, what it happens to the citizens of this small town, because essentially it's like a small town, and so you get a sense of that, and you kind of see where it escalates on that point. But it was really good. I would say Weapons is definitely a standout horror film that really is gonna really have this chemistry to where I would even say it's gonna go in the books as one of the best horror movies this year. I would say. I mean, we haven't seen The Conjuring yet, but we haven't seen The Conjuring yet. So, but The Conjuring does look more scarier than this one. But you know, the ambitious, the whole revealing of it all. You know, the whole trauma that you get to see on air and everything on the camera. It's really good. And there's a few camera angles that I really did like. There was one where the camera angle is like below the door frame. That was really cool. I like that scene. I
will say a lot of the camera shots were really good.
Yeah, they were really detailed. And it's like, and that's the thing too, when it comes down to filmmaking, you know, you're in a house. There's only so many angles you could do. We saw a movie earlier this year that had the angles of the darkness. Remember the darkness that was like a ghost or something? We didn't know what it was. I forgot what that movie was. It was A24. No, it was Neon Movie. And so that movie was good, and it worked on its environment. And that's the thing too. This movie, yes, it's a small town. But here's the key point. The key point happens at all the horror stuff happens at this house, essentially, and that's the core value of it, or the core.
Yeah, it stems from a house.
Yeah, and so here's the thing: use your surroundings. I feel like great directors can use their surroundings. Great actors could even use the environment they're in to really portray and ignite the character that they're really trying to project. And I admire directors when they do shots like that. I really do. It's like it's so amazing, and I love when directors do that. I'm all like, oh yes. I was like, yes, yes. That's so cool, because it's something different, because you can only use so much. You're in a small house or 2-story house, and you can only do so much in a film setting. And I love film. I love filmmaking, and I love how directors really go above and beyond with what they're working with, right? So, and not talking about high budget movies here, you know, we're talking about like the Odyssey or Christopher Nolan's movies, but you get a sense to where you get to use what you're given. Every budget counts, every cent counts, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, now going back to my review here, I would say this is definitely a different traditional scares that the fans are used to. I would say very different, more psychological, mixed with horror. We get a little of that gore scene at the very end of the movie. So I would say this is definitely a cinematic experience, more structured on the fact of psychological and the whole trauma and behind it. And I do recommend this movie, guys. But rating 1 out of 10 be the highest, Angela. What do you give this rating?
I'll give it a solid 8, because I agree with you. It's really up there for me on could this be a top contender for best horror of the year for us? So I mean, there's still a lot of movies.
There's still a lot of movies coming out.
It's already halfway through the year. We're actually reviewing two-thirds of the way into the year, because really only have after this month, September, October, November, December. So there's still so much cinema that has to come out, and I know we're skipping a few. I know the one we have our eye on is the next Conjuring movie, but I know we're skipping some. There's some that are gonna be fantastic, hard, heavy contenders come out between then. But I really, really enjoyed this, and it, like I said, the story was really cool. The cast did such a fantastic job, all of them. And the haunting visuals, the visuals.
And then I would say even the character arcs we got from even
Josh Brolin,
and then the other from the Sorcerer Supreme, Wong.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what the? I know that guy. I was like, that was really cool, man, to see him as a principal.
It was just a really well done.
And I believed it. His acting was superb. It was amazing.
He's great. But I would stick with it a solid 8, because I really had a good time watching this.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it 8.3. I'm gonna tell you why 8.3, because of the camera angles, because I feel like it deserves. It's not a 9. I would say it's a little bit above an 8. And also, I was very surprised at the outcome of this movie. I really was, and I was pleasantly entertained, and I enjoyed this film. And yeah, I would say very small, but this me nitpicking, some pacing issues towards the third act of the movie, but it's still fine. It's still a good movie. I do recommend this movie. Any horror fans out there, you guys are horror fans. Put on comments down below. What do you guys think? And I know you're gonna go see this movie. Don't lie. You're gonna go see this movie, and I feel like everyone's gonna be doing the trend of the scene of the children.
The Naruto running?
Yeah.
The not quite Naruto running.
Exactly. But all right, guys, thank you so much for making this a part of your day. As always, I am your host, Ryan D. Ryan680.
I am Angela, that cat lady Ange. And one quick shout out to the Grim Breakers, because they were supplying
that's right.
Scary,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
spooky treats on the screening that we did, and they did a fantastic job. I mean,
there you go.
It was phenomenal. So quick shout out. Please send them love. They deserve all of it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. See you at the movie, San Antonio. Latest.